Why, hello everybody, and welcome to the first of, hopefully, many devlogs. So, this first devlog is going to be a bit longer than the other ones I plan to make, but it'll be split into three stages. Stage 1, I'm going to explain what the project is and what I want done with it. Stage 2, I'm going to recap everything I've done so far, so you're all caught up on the same page. Stage 3, I'm gonna just reflect on everything and see how everything's going so far, with just saying, okay, the remainder of whatever the hell I'm doing for this week, I want this, 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 and this. We're all on the same page. Okay, so stage 1 of the project. What is it I want to do? So, you all know the hit game Terraria, right? I'm sure you all do if any of you have well played games. So, I'm making a project similar. It's gonna be dwarves and hell and yada yada. Should be very fun. But you may be wondering, why am I making this project? Well, A, it seems fun, and B, college makes me. Because yes, I'm on a bloody game design course, so I got things I gotta do. So, my plan is, this entire idea, we're gonna take this dwarf, I'm gonna put him in hell, because dwarves are greedy, and they like minerals. So, he's gonna fight the 7 deadly sins. Only one you're gonna fight is sloth, because I do not have the time to code the others and design them all, as fun as that would be. But, you'll fight sloth in this little demo, you're able to make some stuff out of, like, random ores and his remains and all of that. You'll have a little settlement that you'll stay at, and that'll be like your home base, but you can build your own base if you choose. And all in all, it should be quite interesting. But for now, I got mostly research and a tiny Unity project. So in 5 weeks, yeah, I should have all of that done, hopefully. Phase 2. What is it? It's the recap. Probably read that from the transition, but I don't care. So, we'll start by recapping the first 2 weeks I worked on this project. Then I'll go with week 3 and 4, and then I'll do everything that I have done in week 5, which hasn't been much because it's on Tuesday, and week 5 started Monday. So, let's get to recapping weeks 1 and 2, the research weeks. Alright, the research. Now, this started, of course, in the first week, carried on to the second week, for the most part. So, I started by making a form. This was basically just to ask where the character would want to go, what they wanted the name and tagline of the game, what genres, the art styles, and then gameplay features, which gave me a couple different answers. So, first question, the most common answer people wanted was for the dwarf to go to hell itself, which is why the game is set in hell. Second one, the options were Minekeeper, We Dug Too Deep, Greed, Dwarvenfall, Earthen Raiders, Hell Raiders, Cavern Raiders, and then people put some of their own, but the most one was We Dug Too Deep, with the tagline being A Story of Greed. The third question, asked people what they want to see, and out of all of them, 2D and action seem to be the most popular of them. So that gives me some the things, how I want to market it, how I want to make levels, that sort of thing. Fourth question, art styles. I had a lot of things, but there were multiple pixel art styles that I was suggested, so I'm probably just going to go with one of those because it makes my life easier. And for the last question, it's just features, like with base building, combat, loot boxes, crafting, resource collection, all of that jazz. So that was the first thing. Second thing I did, I looked into the sales of Terraria itself and saw why people actually like Terraria. Because that'll give me a way to, have these things, don't have these things, yada yada. Then I did some playthroughs of Terraria. Lovely. First one was just a non-modded one on the PlayStation. Second one was a duo playthrough in the Calamity mod of Terraria, which was very interesting. Then there was a Thorium mod one, which I still haven't finished because the person who I was doing it with broke their computer. And then there was a solo Thorium one, which I have finished. And there's some pictures of just random Terraria stuff. And then it's research into dwarves and their behavior and physiology, which was nice. But it's about how they tend to be courageous, loyal, angry, typically, and very, very greedy, which gave me a lot of more ideas. I mean, game genres, which game genres are popular, random bits of data about that. And then we had the second thing. How long someone been playing games, why that helps me, how often, again, both those tie into the longer and the more they play games, their answer's probably going to weigh a bit more for this. What types of games they play, again, narrows down and sees which is most common to be played, which was sandboxes and RPGs, surprisingly. What are opinions on bullet hells? People seem to quite like them, so Slaughter's going to be a bullet hell fight. How important are bosses? Again, people seem to think they are quite important, so I knew I had to design a boss, and people prefer the mechanics to the story, apparently. So, again, I'll probably just focus on making a good mechanic. Now, for the last question, it was how difficult should a boss be? And it was a scale of 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, like the other scale ones were. But 5 to 10 seemed to be the most popular range, so I'll probably do a pretty difficult boss, but not overly challenging. Then I did some research into Hell and the 7 deadly sins themselves. And then, because I had done a PowerPoint in this time that I presented to my tutors, and then they came back and told me, yeah, it's fine, you can go ahead and start the practical. I made a tile map and my first design for the Sin of Sloth. And that was my first 2 weeks. And now we have week 3 and 4, which were both done over the Easter break, so not much. Now, seeing as these weeks were over the Easter holiday, there wasn't too much done. But I'd start by making a player character, the dwarf you saw back in stage 1, because he looks pretty cool. He's just some random dwarf, kind of fat, but he's the way he is for good reason, just so he actually looks like a regular dwarf and not something more similar to a king or some high up general, just because. And then I decided to make a pickaxe, and the upgraded versions of those 2 pickaxes, one being from Osier Mine, the other being from materials dropped by Sin of Sloth itself, because I want the player to have an upgrade past the boss. Then we have weapons. So again, basic sword that you get upgraded from ores, sword from boss materials. And we have a bow and an arrow that just exist. And we have player attacks, which took me 4 days of work to make both of them. And both of them look really similar, apart from one's faster. And I didn't realize this until like a little bit ago when someone pointed it out to me in class. So now I have to remake one of the attacks to make them different enough. So yeah. Then we have a main menu theme, which I made before this, but it made more sense to put it here. To put like the player attacks before this. So, with this, which was the main menu theme, it sounds pretty good, but I don't actually have. I haven't put this in the video just because I couldn't be bothered. We have this. And then, a while later, I made the song for the boss fight, which I made a very fast-paced song, even though it is the Sin of Sloth, because I want the boss's attacks to be fast, but the boss itself will probably just be snoozing on the pillow. And finally, I made this sword. And this sword is going to be what the boss throws at the player. similar to the Devour of Gods attack in the Calamity mod. And back in research and context, there's one more thing I did these weeks. I researched into rare ores and gemstones to figure out, what traits they had in common. A lot of them being they are quite heat resistant, quite durable, which is pretty good for a game I'm trying to set in hell. But yeah, that wraps up weeks 3 and 4. Alright, the way I'm going to structure week 5 is going to be a little bit different. So, this is still going to be the reflection for week 5, because I'll make regular voice reflection like I have done for the rest of the weeks for week 4, and then I'll have this as my first video reflection for week 5. But at the current time of recording this, it is Tuesday, and I actually don't have anything else that I've done in week 5 apart from the Sin of Sloth redesign and starting the Unity project, which I don't have screenshots of at the current moment, so they'll be added in later. So week 5 is going to be a bit more chopped up instead of a big bulk of me talking and showing a video of what I've done, because I don't have that video to show. But for week 5, redesigned it, and I got the player to move, but for some reason it keeps flopping over, so I'll show a video of that, and hopefully fix it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. You'll figure out in like 5 seconds. Well, fun fact, I'm recording this audio on the Friday, and you may be wondering, well, what's next? Nothing's next. You see the picture on screen? I'm about to add some text to it. Bang, there's some text to it. You see life shooting me the goldfish. You may be wondering, why is life shooting me? I don't know either. How is life shooting me? I got extremely ill. I still am on the Friday of doing this audio. My head is killing me. I haven't thrown up all day, which is more than I can say for yesterday and Wednesday and Tuesday. But yeah, so I've been incredibly sick and I haven't done anything on Friday. So the rest of this was all done on Tuesday, but this single pit was done now, so yeah. Yeah, I did nothing else on Friday. So my goal for next week, which I'm gonna put in this section, don't get sick. That's my one goal. Don't get sick and actually be able to do some work. But yeah, that's all I've really done all week. Just die in bed, so yay. Alright, phase 3, the future. Now, this is the future of the project. This will be all the, well, I want to do this, 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 and I hope for this, this, and hope that this doesn't happen. All of that nonsense. So, how am I going to proceed with the project in the future? Simple. I'm going to set 3 main goals and 1 mini goal a week. My main goal for the old project, I got 3. Make the player character work well, make a half-decent design level, and make the boss fight work well. If those 3 go well, the game should be fine. Now for the week itself, I'm just hoping to make the player character not fall over and spin violently out of control every single time they move an inch. Because I don't think you can play a game too well when the player character does that. But yeah, that's really all I can say for this portion. Just don't have a player spinning out of control. And just hope I can get the game finished and in a playable state by the end of this 10 weeks. And with that, that's the end of the video. So like, subscribe, all that bollocks, and goodbye for now, I guess.